name is Ron Johnson. I am a disciple of Jesus Christ, first and foremost. I am a husband to my wife, Krista. I've got 5 kids and 3 grandkids. I'm not very smart, but I love being a dad. And I also am the founding pastor of a church called Restoration Church. And in the last 3 years, we have begun to see movement happen, disciple-making movement happen here in our city and other cities in the U.S. and now in Nepal and India as well. This is all new for me. I got into disciple-making movement, knowledge, technology, if you will, during COVID. I had read about it in the past, just books about movements happening in primarily third world countries and Southeast Asia in particular, but was skeptical about it happening here in the U.S. But during COVID, we had some time to think about what was happening in our city. Some more background on me: I've planted 4 Pavilion Model churches and made a commitment to the Lord to plant not just a church on this last go-round, but churches out of our church. By COVID, planted 46 churches, Pavilion Model, out of our church. And we're reaching in the Front Range around 12 to 14,000 people. In the meantime, our city grew by 114,000 just in the city limits, not including the suburbs. And so we realized we're falling way behind. We are in one of the most post-Christian cities, as you probably can imagine, in the country. And so began to despair at what I was giving my life to be honest. And at the same time, I did the numbers on our church plans, and we've given away $3 million as a church, along with other networks. We've poured millions of dollars into these churches. The average baptism in North America, discovered during COVID, is $1.5 million per baptism. If you take the total offerings, divide them by the total baptisms, it's really depressing. So I got a hold of a book called T for T by Yinkai and read it, and for the first time was given some tools to actually try and do movement. And so I and my team were like, what the heck, why not try? And so we started about 14 to 15 Discovery Bible studies, and over a period of almost 2 years, year and a half or so, we saw 100 baptisms. And then during that time, one of our city missionaries who speaks 12 languages began to aggressively go after disciple-making movement in the city as well. And we've seen God do some really amazing things. And so to date, we have around 1,200 plus simple churches in our city. And we have well over 1,000 to 2,000 more. We're gen mapping right now in the States, and then many more over in Asia. Anytime you see rapid growth in, I think, a prevailing model church or a movement, there's always some asterisks. And our number one asterisk is the Holy Spirit. There are a lot of people who began to pray a number of years ago, over a decade ago, for movement to happen, specifically here in Denver. The wind's blowing, I think, primarily because of these faithful men and women of God who've been on their knees for many years. And we've been able to just catch that wind. The other asterisk is we are mainly a movement in the global north of people from the global south. And so the vast majority of the people in our movements, both locally and nationally, are people who've moved here from India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bhutan, Nepal. We have a lot of Nepalis. But we do have some significant movement going on with Americans as well. But it's probably like 10 to 15% of our total movement. So that's a bit about us in terms of what's happened. We've learned quite a bit. We've learned for prevailing model churches like us, which we still run a prevailing model church every weekend. We still have the band, the budget, the hazer, everything you do on a weekend, programs, all that kind of thing. We've learned for a prevailing model church to get into doing DMM, you have to shift a number of ways, 3 ways in particular. You have to shift from a church growth mindset to a kingdom mindset. It was a very critical shift for us. From an addition mindset, come and see, fill the seats, to a go and tell, multiplication mindset. And then finally from a knowledge-based obedience approach to discipleship to an obedience-based discipleship model. And that was a big shift for us. So one key lesson we've learned for those of you who may be doing prevailing model work, and that is we've learned that hybrid doesn't work. I'll just be honest. We've tried to create synergy between the weekends and the movement, and we've not been able to create that. We've learned a lot from each other, but we are now running parallel. We're doing a very kind of a classic attractional prevailing model church with a strong emphasis on obedience-based discipleship. in parallel with a movement. If you try to do the two together, you wind up serving two masters and you split your staff really right in the middle, and that hurts. So we're running them separately, but in a way that complements and does not compete, and it's really become a lot of fun. If you are pastoring a prevailing model church, God bless you. If you're doing pure movement, God bless you. This is not a moral issue. Hope that we don't see it that way. If you're doing both at the same time, then really God bless you, because it's really, really hard. And man, keep swinging. Anyway, over and out. Love you guys.